we're not live yet.
I was like,
But now we're live. Hey, everyone. Sorry about that. We just wanted to build a little bit of suspense, you know, just kind of make it exciting. What's going to happen next? Maybe they did. Maybe they are actually in Russia. Maybe they're going to head on over right now.
Oh
Maybe
my
they're going to
God.
crash the ceremony.
maybe we're creating a Frozen short where
Yeah,
we're just taking a little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe this is exactly like that Frozen short.
Blame Cox Communications, everybody.
They did pretty great with me, but it seems like they're kind of awful with you over there in the Phoenix area.
Oh,
some sort of
all right. Well, if you are, I guess the link is back on because I see some viewers. See if we can tweet that out again. I apologize, guys. But Group A, Russia. Group B, Portugal. Group C, France. Group D, Argentina. Group E, Brazil. So none of the weaker teams. I think they're going to be in the last. Let's see. We should see Poland and Switzerland coming up soon, right? So already, if we never mind. Yeah, Germany and Poland. And, wow, the two worst teams, if we look at rankings, are going to be the last Group G and Group H, and then Naib or Cesar, and maybe I don't know if Tom's still on. Those are the groups that we want to avoid, right? Because of the travel.
Yeah, the travel rate is those last two groups, right? Yes.
Yeah, well, actually, it's kind of mixed in a little bit too, because with some of the worst travel, you do also see in Group A. You do see a little bit of bad travel in Group C, D, and E, but it all depends within the individual position and in each group. It all kind of varies between all the 8 groups. But once Mexico gets their spot, I'll be sure to let you guys know where it lands in Tom's official patent pending travel guide to Russia. Are they going a long time? And oh God, is this going to be terrible for Mexico guide?
Well, there's definitely going to be a cross if we're looking at cross against a really good team. There is no if we can't be in an easy team and cross into a really, really good bad team, because Russia and now what is it, Switzerland that's going to come up? Oh, why do I keep thinking Switzerland?
It's Belgium. Belgium is
Belgium's for
Poland. Yeah, sorry.
G1.
Poland and Russia would be the last two. So automatically,
Poland's going to be the last one.
Yeah. Poland. I apologize. So Poland's going to be the last one. I kept saying Switzerland for some reason, but that automatically tells us that wherever group we're going to be, unless we're in Group B, we're going to face off against a really good team in the round of 16 if we don't get first place.
I think even more than before this draw, A2 is absolutely ideal right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also G3. G3 is also a very good position.
Here we go.
We play Volgograd, Moscow, and Saransk.
Okay, first one from part 2 coming up.
Part 2 coming up. Let's see. It's Mexico.
Oh,
Come on,
do it, Mexico.
Come on, Mexico.
It is.
Please.
Uruguay.
Wait, who's this faster? Whose stream is faster?
Uruguay. It
Oh.
is
Uruguay.
Is faster.
Congratulations, Uruguay.
You've got to be a bit careful here because it could come out a bit weird, all these now.
Yeah.
I was watching
no
the
two teams.
previews of the draw. It's not as easy. For
Wait,
example,
why are they putting it on the screen? That's what I want to know.
Because
They're having
Oh, that's right.
Soon.
It goes to A4.
A4.
A4, okay.
This is the thing now. This is the thing that's going to be, because, for example, the South American team now can't go Group B or Group
Somebody
B.
turn down their because we see Tom kind of have a. We can hear Tom if you guys.
I think it's
All right.
I think it's because Tom and Naive are in the same room.
Oh, they're in the same room. Got it.
Yeah,
All right, Spain for Group B.
Portugal and Spain. Interesting.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, that's gonna be a good one.
Whoa.
So we don't see Spain if we go in the next round. That would be if we were in Group A. But this is where it's going to tell us, right? As far as a position for they're going to be B2.
Faster.
Well, it's not a stream. It's just a TV.
Yeah, I'm watching it on Telemundo.
I'm watching it on Telemundo too.
DirecTV, and it's like super slow. You guys are getting it before me.
It's because it's antenna, dude. All right, here we go. This is Peru is Group C. France, Peru, and
Oh,
we're gonna
Peru.
get the call.
That's not bad.
All right.
That's not bad.
This is where I predicted Mexico will come in Group D or Group E.
Yeah, it feels like it. Argentina, Brazil.
Yeah.
And C3. All right, guys, here it comes. If not, it's going to be Germany. If we can hold off until Poland, will be miraculous. Here we go, guys. Oh, my goodness. Will it be a 2006, 2010 reunion for a World Cup? Mexico, is it? Armando Maradona, and it is
Here's his
Croatia. No.
Ooh,
Okay.
that'll be a good one too. I'm fascinated to see Argentina and
Ladies and
Croatia.
gentlemen, we are not going to face Argentina in the group of 16.
But as tradition states, we'll probably see them.
We do not want to be in this group right here. That means that we will be facing Germany in the round of 16, and we'll have Brazil in our group.
Well, unless we win the group, right?
Unless we win the group. Oh, my goodness. Here we go.
Yeah, there you go.
It's
Here it is. Group E, please. Oh, wait, that's D3. I'm all excited.
Gotta be Diego.
Look at
Wait.
Simeone.
Diego's.
Okay, do not. Diego, please do not put Mexico right here. Here we go. I'm excited. And Diego's 15th carat. It's Switzerland.
Oof.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
We're going to either be Germany, Belgium, or
6%
Poland.
chance we have Belgium or Poland at this point. It's not too bad. Not too bad.
Guys,
Not surprising. So not surprising that Mexico doesn't come out. You know, I think it's smelling like
here
a
we go.
reunion with
If it's
Belgium, no?
Mexico with the Germany or Belgium or Poland, we faced them in the last year.
Yeah.
Guys, if we can be in that Poland pot in Group H, face Belgium group,
I'd be quite happy with that. I think that's the second best scenario after not being able to get in the group with Russia. I think you'd want to be in the group with Poland. So fingers crossed.
There it
This is
is.
the one
This is
that
it.
I think everyone wants to avoid, the Germany one.
the Germany team, and it is. I'm going to England. Mexico, ladies and gentlemen, we have
Germany.
faced the world champion.
Mexico, yo.
We got Germany.
We got Germany.
Oh, hey guys.
And
No.
we have Brazil in a round of 16.
Look at Osorio's face. He's like, okay.
Soria smiles.
We probably have
F2.
F2.
Tom, or do you remember the
What is that?
travel distances between F2?
Oh, that was the best.
Yeah, and in Tom's list, when he has the 4 different groups, there's the best, the not bad, the not good, and the worst. F2 is in the best group. So it's at the very bottom of the best group, but it looks like it's not bad. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
England with Belgium.
It's just before not bad. It still qualifies for
I mean, Osorio has mentioned it many times, you know, that he wanted kind of like the group of death. And I think
Shut up, Osorio.
Did he really want it though? Because
Off
that
to a good
face,
start.
that face,
I want the group.
like he was
Well,
like,
I mean, look, we play Brazil. If we're gonna go against the giant ones, we have played Brazil before. The style of Brazil, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Just like Tom is saying, let's see who's
who's
if we
next?
can even get out of our group. Yeah, a Nigeria,
Hot two.
a Denmark would be horrible in our group. But what is this? The last group that is Colombia. Colombia got the easy Poland group. I'm not saying easy, but I guess Uruguay. But Uruguay's got to face Portugal and Spain. Guys, seeing right now in the first spots. Oh, wait, things can change, right? No, they can't. They can't change anymore. That's right. No, that's right. They can't change anymore.
Do over? Do we get a do over?
Can we just do it again? Was that
Can you redo?
Who do we know in FIFA who we can do a do-over? Who do we know?
The balls weren't heated.
my dog is named FIFA. All right. Well, let's say it was a buzzkill.
Not really. I mean, here's the thing: is that now it's a guarantee we won't see Germany in the next round. So
True. You know that's what when I was writing, I was thinking of that. I'm like, all right, at least if there is one team that we cannot beat, like flat out, even if our players are playing the best football on the planet, is Germany.
But like it was always going to be like, okay, so maybe like Mexico's going to have a lot harder time winning the group, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's all about these next two. It's all about these next two spots.
Yeah.
These next two spots. Like, are we going to get teams that we can manage, or are they going to be some of the tougher teams, and then we have like the struggle to get out of the group, or is it going to be more manageable? Like, it's all about these next two teams, really.
Yeah.
We need on that Brazil group someone hard. Hopefully they can get a second place.
It's gonna be cool in Group A.
But yeah, just keep your fingers crossed for.
Look how easy Uruguay is getting it. Gosh. My goodness.
Yeah, so I think right
You
now.
never know.
And they're such cheaters.
If you're a Mexico fan, I think you're hoping for Tunisia. And
All right, Denmark's already in Group C, so that's good, right?
Yep. That's
all of us.
not bad.
Okay, so then they go back to Group B after this.
Yeah, because there could not be another for Group B. There couldn't be
Too much
another
UEFA.
UEFA team, so they had to move it up. So Iran now goes into Group B. And they're explaining because you can't have 3 European teams, no more than 2 of each confederation. So there shouldn't be any problem from Group D because there are none of the same confederation. They're drawing for the place. So here's Group D, Group E.
Yeah, depending on what happens in that last spot in Group C, that's looking rather Group of Deathy.
If you
that definitely looks like it so far.
Denmark, like.
all right, we avoided Cesar's Iceland pick.
Okay. This is looking pretty good for pot 3 so far for Mexico. You get
If we can get
Iceland,
Tunisia,
that's not too bad.
we want to avoid Senegal and Sweden. We can't get Costa Rica, so
Hopefully it's Tunisia.
let's hopefully it's Tunisia for Mexico in an easier group. But also we want someone hard here on this Group E, right? To give maybe a Sweden or a Senegal to give Brazil a run for that first spot on that cruce. And let's say, if we would have like a Sweden here and they tie and they get second in their group, Brazil struggles. That's Mexico's encounter on the round of 16. So here we go, Group E. A potential Costa Rica.
Okay.
There it is, Costa Rica, who faced Brazil in the 1990. Had a really good good game. I think it was a tie. It was one of the first World Cup. So there it is, our CONCACAF. And they're obviously going to put the E3.
So looking at the teams left, I think the worst case scenario here for Mexico is if they get Sweden.
Sweden or Senegal, right?
Or Senegal, maybe Senegal.
Yeah. Sweden would be quite cool to see.
All right, guys. Here we go. Group F. Let's go Tunisia.
Tunisia.
Come on, Cafu. Sweden.
Oh my god.
This gets interesting.
Oh my goodness.
Well, this will be fun.
Well, we can still beat Sweden. It's okay. We can beat Sweden.
I mean, Mexico is obviously. I think Mexico is better than Sweden. I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. But I just think from the remaining teams, that's just the one that you didn't want.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're looking at the worst case scenario. There isn't going to be we should still make it out of the group with whomever we come back.
Now, if we get Nigeria,
It's a group of death, isn't it?
Well, yeah. But at the same time, even if we do get Nigeria, we should still come out of that group. It's going to be tough, but we should still come out of that group. England, Group G is about to be announced, and it's G3. Tunisia, Belgium, England, and Tunisia. It's the third pot from pot 3 that everybody wanted. Cafu, that's Cafu, right? Doing a great job there. Dude, and I'm gonna narrate more because I forgot that people are listening to us. For Group H, Senegal. You have Group H Senegal, and they're about to draw for what position? Mr. Puyol with the locks. We got Poland, Colombia, and Senegal. Ladies and gentlemen, H2. Here is the final pot coming up. Pot number 4. Who will we end up with? We have Serbia, Nigeria, Australia, Japan, Morocco, Panama, Korea, and Saudi Arabia. Right off the bat, you want Saudi Arabia in your group to at least make things a lot easier.
In Morocco, Australia, Japan, there's a lot of good options here that aren't Nigeria, Serbia, really. There goes Saudi Arabia.
There goes Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, that's
Oh,
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting what Russia did.
Guys on the podcast, I mean, guys on the chat, how are you feeling? Javier Hernandez, I want Australia. Bring on Nigeria. If we get Nigeria, they want the Aussies.
So what's the opposite of the group of death? Like, because it can't be the group of life, right? I mean, I guess we might as well call it the group of life. Because Group A is definitely the group of life.
Cake. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. I just saw that. I hate Uruguay, man. But they got to go against Portugal or Spain in the next round. So, Grupo Comprado. Javier Hernandez says pinches FIFA. Pancho Villas Army says, "Dang, we're pretty much screwed." We're not screwed, guys. We could have been, like I said, there. In the sense of group of death, we probably have one of the hardest group if we get, like a Nigeria. But I'm thinking,
Honestly, I think regardless of what other team is selected for the 4th spot, I do think that it's quite difficult so far. I think it's manageable for El Tri. I think it's not unreasonable to assume that Mexico could potentially get a draw against Germany. I know it was kind of brutal for them in the Confederations Cup, but I think they played a decent game against them. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see who they get in the 4th spot. But I mean,
can somebody check if we play Germany first?
So
right? I think we do.
I'll check.
We do, don't we?
Morocco group a draw for Group B would be Morocco. So Portugal, Spain, Morocco, and Iran.
So I'm looking at the group stage schedule, and the first Group F match is between F1 and F2. Mexico, Germany first. So I think that would be ideal. I think
I'm not quite sure. You always want to start winning in your first group, and you want to face the 2 worst. You get a loss there, and you get a tie in Sweden, and you're done. Remember?
Okay. Yeah.
B3 for Morocco, obviously, because why do we have to draw it out? We already know it's going to be B3 FIFA.
So Mexico, they're going to play Germany first. Then they're going to play whoever is in F4. They're going to play that team second. And then the last game of the group stage is against Sweden.
Which is going to be...
So you get the feeling that match against Sweden is basically more than likely going to showcase...
It's almost like the Croatia, right? It's almost a Croatia match that we got. I mean...
Essentially.
Here we go.
It can't be Panama at this point. Now Australia's gone, so it has to be Japan, Korea, or Nigeria at this point. Nigeria, so there's a 1/3% chance right now, 33% chance it's Nigeria. Oh man.
Here we go for Group 4. Oh wait, is this? Come on, just draw Nigeria. Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
We can celebrate. Group D went Nigeria, which was the hardest out of all those teams. Argentina, Iceland, Croatia, Nigeria. Now that's a very tough group. If we're going to talk about tough group, that Group D would put it in there.
What's it called? Just barely Nigeria defeated Argentina, no?
Yeah, and you know what?
Argentina.
Wait, recently you said, Naib?
Yeah, they played a friendly Nigeria.
Well,
Argentina.
if you remember, Nigeria did play Argentina in the last World Cup, if I'm not mistaken, and it wasn't. I think it was a 1-0 by a Messi goal, and it was criticized.
I was just thinking now. The last time Mexico had 2 European sites in the same group.
Here it goes for Group F. Panama was draw out for our group, but because he's explaining right now, because we have 2 CONCACAF teams, we're either going to get an Asian team, Japan or Korea right now. I would take Korea.
Yeah, keep your fingers crossed for Korea.
And Cuauhtemoc Blanco does, you know, a Guatemala again. Here we go. Oh, that's for G2, my bad. So Panama goes to Group G, which is Belgium.
I'm pretty happy with that. Tunisia.
Panama, Tunisia, England. Ladies and gentlemen, it'll be Germany, Mexico, Sweden, and Korea Republic, which is Korea. There is our group, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Amigos y amigas, Group F. With Germany, Mexico, Sweden, and Korea. All teams we have faced in World Cups before.
And then it's the sound
Everyone's typing.
Yeah, so that's the sound of millions of people sending out tweets.
Millions of people sending out tweets. I won't send out a tweet. I'm here with you guys. I'm looking at see. Let's see. Japan will be obviously in Group H, and it concludes the World Cup draw. The fact that people were trying to avoid a Sweden on that third group, pot 3, is and then Germany, right? Winning the group would be huge for Mexico. Getting second in the group would still be a feat, but an accomplishment coming out of that group because of the team that Sweden is. But once again, we play Germany in the first game, Korea in the second game, and to top it all off, Sweden at the end of the game. So at the end of that draw,
I think the group has a mixture of kind of teams, you know, with Germany possession based, but then again they have a good at good height and everything, good at set pieces, good direct. I mean, Germany can play anything.
Yeah.
Sweden is more direct, and Korea is athletic, you know, a lot of speed. So it's a group that has a lot of variation in that regard. But Korea has a good set of players, that are scattered around, in their local league and also in Europe. Son is one that stands out because of what he's doing at Tottenham. For Mexico, I mean, I think this is the type. Well, this is actually the type of group that Osorio wanted. I mean, it's a mixture of teams that
Osorio
that he wanted. But like we said at the beginning of the draw, I mean, this is a major test for Mexico. I mean, this is. I know that
it's the test.
Possibility of winning, it's the test. The possibility of winning the group is almost disregarded from the start, and here it's just about surviving. And if you can get a draw, or the thing that I like about this opportunity for Mexico is that, for example, with Chile, Mexico didn't have the chance to face Chile after what happened in the Centenario. Here, we know what happened in the Confederations against Germany. Osorio, don't put Alanis as a left back. This gives you another test to play against Germany and in the world stage, and I think that's going to be what Mexico does differently against Germany.
I think when I look at this group, I know seeing a team like Germany could be really, really daunting, but obviously the top two still go through. Mexico is, regardless of how difficult it might be against Germany, I think Mexico is still very capable of making it into the next round, and I think that's clearly the minimum goal here. In second, and more than likely, it's not going to be in first. And Mexico can still feasibly make it into the next round. So I think that it's going to be crucial. That game against Sweden is going to be so much more important than that game against Germany, because you can almost assume that, I mean, with a draw against Germany, that would be incredible. A win, I just don't think that can happen. I mean, in all honesty, I don't think it can happen. So I think it's going to come down to that game against Sweden, which is going to be the last one of the group stage for Mexico. So that is the big game of the tournament, and that is also assuming that Mexico can get a win against Korea, South Korea. I think they can, but yeah, I mean, all eyes on that Sweden game, which will be if I'm looking at the schedule correctly, it should be on Wednesday, June 27th.
Gentlemen, do we have the cities? Can somebody look up the cities of where we will be playing?
I got them right.
And while you do that, let's give you a little hope, amigos. As far as when we started said, there really isn't a group of death of facing two world powers in the round. We're obviously face the world power, which is Germany. Just like Cesar saying that Sweden game is going to be key. Korea, I think, is a must win, not even a tie. On that sense, what kind of scares me is obviously the cruce with Switzerland and Brazil. But if you look at last 4 years ago, when we looked at, we were facing the host country, for our second game after a very tough, we were looking at an African team, a Cameroon. And then we were facing a good Croatia with great players. And something that we've seen Mexico do during World Cup is we faced the Italys, we faced the Frances, we faced the Netherlands in that very first group. And in our group, we do quite well. And I know Germany is the best team, the best players, and I said earlier, but if we can't, squeeze in a draw.
Look, I mean, I think it's really interesting to see the 2016 Olympic draw, and it was Germany and South Korea in the group, and Fiji.
That's right.
Fiji was kind of the weak link, and Mexico had a tough time beating that, and I think that's what cost it to not even make it out of the group stage. I mean, it's just fascinating to see how these coincidences happen. That Korea and Germany, Chucky was part of that team, and you see exactly what happened there. I mean, it not making it out of the group stage was a great U23 generation. I mean, a lot of things have to. Osorio has to pull the strings together. This is a really complicated group. I mean, but it's a test that he wanted since the start.
Definitely, Cesar. Do we have those cities?
Yeah, so it looks like Mexico's going to play their first game in Moscow.
Great.
And then the second game is going to be at Rostov-on-Don. And then the last one is going to be, let's see if I can pronounce this, Yekaterinburg. Yes. Yekaterinburg. Yekaterinburg. Is that close? I'm not offending any potential Russian speakers out there. I assume that's pretty close. But yeah, Yekaterinburg.
So Moscow, Yekaterinburg, and Rostov, which are fairly close to Moscow, which is something very, very important that Tom said. It looked like we were trying to get the Dynamo Kiev anywhere,
Dynamo Moscow, Wiso.
Oh, Dynamo Moscow. I'm sorry. Yeah, Dynamo Moscow, but you don't have to travel north to St. Petersburg. You don't have to go to Kazan in the south. Sochi, Rostov, and Sochi are there, but those are pretty close as far as I know travel. I don't know if Tom's still on. I know he's probably writing, or if you can look at there, Cesar, the travel distances.
About participation games in March, I think they're good. I think Argentina, how this turned out. But then again, it also changes a little bit the planning. I mean, of course, yeah, facing Peru and Argentina, but if Mexico will have some European games to Sweden, for example. So getting a friendly against Denmark would be smart, Yeah. Everyone is there in Moscow for the World Cup because it's kind of similar styles, Denmark and Sweden. Even Iceland as well would be a good friendly for Mexico at this point. But it's about nailing that style to finding ways of coming out a winner in the Sweden game. And with all these changes that Osorio tends to do on the lineups and group stages, we saw it against New Zealand and the Confederations. I don't know if this group will allow him to do that many changes. I think it's a must-win with Germany. It's a must-win with Korea. You have to put your best teams against those two first games. I mean, I don't think there's room for massive changes. I think every game will be kind of like a final for the three.
I think the only way we could see some changes or some experimentation is if somehow, in some sort of weird universe, if Mexico beats Germany and then beats Korea, and I'm saying Mexico is more than likely going to beat Korea, but if they somehow beat Germany as well, then maybe in that final game against Sweden, Soto might try to experiment, might try to do something a little different. But this is, we look at these teams, it's just, yeah, he's got to go all out. He has to go all out in this situation. It's going to be fascinating to see how he prepares for it, and just to see what his also it would be interesting to see within the next few weeks, just to see what his thoughts are on this group. because a lot of what we talk about isn't just about stuff on the field, but the mental aspect of the game. And it's going to be interesting to see how Osorio feels about this group and also how some of the players respond to Mexico's group. I think that's going to be interesting to see as well.
All right. Well, once we get the distances on that, like I said, looking at the map, which is something that we were worried about, let's go ahead and kind of do a recap before we end the stream, saying hi to everybody on. Let's see really quick some of the comments that are coming up. Mexico can beat Sweden and Korea. No doubt 2014 World Cup was by far a lot harder draw. Cygnus Under says if Mexico at least ties Germany, they may pass in first. If Germany beats Sweden and South Korea, we go in first. Mexico ties Germany and beats Sweden and North Korea from Edson Lerma. Very, very positive. Ernesto Padilla says, great draw. Don't forget the Tiger Woods is back. I don't know what that means, but thanks for the stream. Very positive on the chat, but let's go into the draw results. Group A one more time. Russia, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Uruguay. Guys, Group A, easiest of groups. We knew that A2 was going to be where we wanted to be. Uruguay got definitely lucky, kind of breathing there in that Group A. Should we say that Russia and Uruguay are potentials to go through? And your thoughts?
I think Egypt is happy. I think Egypt is happy as well. I mean, I think Egypt has a good bunch of players, led by Salah, who's doing great at Liverpool. You know, Russia's not invincible, even though it's the home team. You know, I don't know. It was proven in the last confederations that they really don't have that much star power. So I think their Egypt could be a surprise there in that Group A.
Jason or Cesar, that Group A, any thoughts?
I'm officially deeming this one to be the group of life. Also, it's going to be fascinating to see what the conspiracy theorists say about Russia having this group and hosting the tournament. Because I heard a lot of like weird comments, be like, "Oh, let's see what kind of impact Putin has on the draw." And I'm not saying I believe any of those guys. I think all those guys are kind of wacky, but I mean, it is interesting to know. But yeah, no, I think this is. I think Russia's quite happy with this. I think Uruguay is quite happy with it. But then again, I don't know. I think. I guess the more I look at it, the more I realize that also Egypt is not one to be looked over. I mean, they're like Naeem just pointed out. This is a they're a decent team. They got Salah on there on the squad as well. So, but I think for when you have a group that's Russia, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Uruguay, I think that's probably the least exciting, I would say, of all the groups.
All right, let's go to Group B. Or any other thoughts? Amy or Jason?
I think Jason left, so it's just Amy now.
Oh, Jason. All right. Sorry about that. Amy? Group A?
Oh, sorry. I'm doing background stuff. No. I mean, sometimes you never know that it is probably the easiest group out of all of them. But sometimes you never know that maybe Uruguay has like a bad game against Saudi Arabia, or they don't perform as well as they're supposed to. But definitely think that it's probably the easiest. Like if they play to their full potential, they should have no problem at all.
Cool. All right. Group B. Group B has Portugal, Spain, Marruecos, Morocco, and Iran. Thoughts on Group B?
I think it is that duo between Portugal and Spain will stand out, especially after what happened in, I think it was the 2010 round of 16 when Portugal and Spain played. Good rivalry there. With Morocco, there's a big Moroccan population in Spain, actually, in the southern part of the country. So I mean, that kind of feels there's a lot of Moroccan Spaniards that are going to be enjoying that one. And Iran, it's quite unknown to a certain extent. You don't know what Iran is going to bring up in this tournament. Of course, in the last, I think, what was it, U20 World Cup, U17, one of those two, they had a good generation there. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what Iran brings to the table. But, it looks a group for Portugal and Spain.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at, obviously the two teams that stand out the most are Portugal and Spain. And I do think that those are the two teams that are going to go through. But like Amy said, you never know with the World Cup. You get a lucky result here. I think Morocco is being managed by Harve Renard, and I think he's been doing a decent job in the past. And then when you look at Iran, I don't know. I guess they did. I mean, when I saw like their qualifying run, I guess there's to an extent you got to say they did well, but I don't know. It doesn't look like they only scored. Looks like they only scored 10 goals in 10 qualifiers. So I don't know if that's really that intimidating. But I don't know. I still, when I look at this group, I think that it's Portugal and Spain stand out the most. Those are the teams that are more than likely going to go through.
They didn't get any other two, big, either harder teams. People are looking at the group of death being these guys, but it should be noted. The cross between those groups, obviously, yeah, Uruguay got an easy group, but you have Portugal and Spain to face in that first or second one. So interesting that match. Russia, again, in that sense. And we're starting to see that the host country really did get, it's actually pretty good draw. Brazil obviously did, but if you're looking back at 2010 South Africa, I wasn't able to get out of their group. 2006 in Germany, obviously, yes. Korea, yes. And France, 98. So as far as the host, got it. Let's see, Group C. Or I'm sorry, now were you about to say something?
Yeah, I mean, real quick. I mean, when you look at those 8 teams in those 2 groups, I mean, Spain has a good shot to, to reach the quarters. I mean, I think Spain is one of the favorites to win this thing because of the generation they had. They're going through an interesting generational shift with, Isco, Asensio, and Morata leading the way. And I think Spain is really well settled for a quarterfinal appearance with these 8 that we see in these 2 groups.
Oh, definitely. All right, Group C, which is one of my favorites to win the whole thing. France for me. In fact, I have a friend in Las Vegas right now looking up odds. I put some money on there because it's the best, and I put France in there. France, Australia, Peru, and Denmark. It looks like it could be. I guess taking back on as far as countries and what we're used to of having the group of death. I mean, this is a pretty interesting group because it's going to be a tough group for any of those teams except for maybe France. But Peru, the way that it qualified, saying amazing what it's doing in such a hard qualification. Denmark, again, a team that is strong, has always had a good finish towards the end of towards the World Cup when it starts. I know they were ranked in 2010, but this will be kind of interesting. Obviously, France going through if Peru can hold on, and Denmark, and even Australia. That's surprising in their style of play. So, who do you guys see going through on this? This, I think, could be a toss-up between Peru and Denmark. No?
Yeah.
I think you can go, Cesc, with this one.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think that it's. I think France, they are the favorites here. I know some people have said that, that their qualifying run wasn't nearly as exciting as they wanted it to be, but man, they're just stacked. They're just stacked with their squad, and their power and their talent, and they're quite deep as well with their depth. So I think that France is definitely the favorite here. And then after, like you guys mentioned, I think it's be between Peru and Denmark. Obviously Peru, just barely sneaked into qualifying, and Denmark. I mean, they, even though they were in pot 3. I mean, I said this in the Countdown to Russia podcast. When you look at that team, what they've done, they look like a pot 2 team. They look like someone who should have been in the earlier draw. And I think Mexico should be a little happy that they also didn't get Denmark. I know, like Jason said earlier, we got Germany, and that was difficult. But then when you look at the rest group, you got Sweden, and when you got Sweden and South Korea. I think that's manageable for the 3. But yeah, so Denmark, they're a team to keep an eye on, and I'm gonna go with them. I'm gonna go with France and Denmark going through to the next round.
All right. Well, this is Group C and Group D are paired off together. And Group D, which people are saying we have the hardest group, but I'm looking at this group being the hardest. I'm looking at this group saying all 4 of them have a chance to go to the next round. It's who messes up. And it's interesting enough that Argentina, with all of the problems with their fan base saying Messi is, can't take the team, is going to have a very tough group, which they had a very weak qualifying group last time, not qualifying, but group. And then even going through the group stages, I think it was until the Netherlands that they really faced somebody big, Argentina. Many people calling them, one of the easiest World Cups to get to a final, but Argentina goes against Iceland, and it's that perfect Goliath, David and Goliath story, right? Because Iceland, we saw in the Euros, Iceland finally makes it to the World Cup. Iceland's going to come in with everything, and it's going to go against Argentina, and Argentina, the pressure that they have to beat these small teams is going to be an amazing match. Then you have Argentina-Croatia, which, again, Croatia, not the strongest Croatia that we've seen, but it's looking out of these, if we go by rankings, if we go by history, if we go, would probably make it out. But then you still have Nigeria, Argentina, Nigeria have a history, I think also in the 90s that they've played. But for me, this is the hardest group if you're any of those, right? So if you're Argentina, it's going to be hard facing all three. If you're Iceland, it's going to be definitely hard. Croatia is going to be hard. Nigeria, and that's what constitutes for me a group of death, guys. What do you like about this group?
I think it's stacked. I think you can make the argument. We saw Cesar and Amy that this can be also the group of death because all the 14. Maybe the reason they might not call it the group of death because Iceland is new to the party, but that's what makes it really dangerous. You don't know what to expect. They're coming off a great Euro that everyone thought that. I mean, they were the Cinderella story of the tournament, and you saw how everyone got on the bandwagon of Iceland. And I'm pretty sure this time around it's going to happen.
Yeah, who's not going to go for Iceland?
Yeah. Who doesn't want to do the Viking clap? I mean, that's just straightforward.
People already doing it.
Yeah, everyone does it. Everyone's copying that. And Croatia, it's an comfortable opponent. I think when you see Rakitic and Modric, perhaps they don't have that. They got Mandzukic. I mean, it's a really similar team to 2014 Croatia. Maybe 2 or 3 youngsters there that are coming up in the ranks. But this is a complicated group. I mean, considering how Argentina have shown in the last, I would say, year or so, I mean, it hasn't been comfortable. I mean, switching coaches. Argentina has looked a lot like Mexico, making those last-minute coaching changes. And right now they have in someone like Sampaoli who Sampaoli made his coaching career outside of Argentina, and now he's in here trying to be the savior and trying to direct this team into greatness, But I think at the end, what works on Argentina's favor is just the amount of talent they have. At some point, these players have to work out,
I do think that's a group of death. I don't care that Iceland. This is the first time that they're going to the World Cup. They've done quite well in Europe, and they've been making a point within the past few years about how much of a powerhouse they are. You couple that with having Argentina, Croatia, and Nigeria. Yeah, I definitely think this is the group of death. And actually, even though you think Mexico is in a tough position, look at the position that Argentina is in right now. I'd rather face off against Germany, Sweden, South Korea, knowing that I have Sweden, South Korean to look forward to, as opposed to what Argentina has to deal with, as opposed to Iceland or Croatia or Nigeria. So I think this is the group of death for me.
Yeah. In this sense, like we said, I don't believe there's groups of deaths anywhere. If this is the hardest group out of this, so if we could do the group of death, all right, guys. And in that matchup of who that second Argentina, it could be we're seeing Iceland probably be the last team, but Croatia, Nigeria. Everyone keeps talking about Nigeria, but Nigeria can fall really easy to teams that have a lot of possession. I see Argentina. But that Iceland-Nigeria game, that Croatia-Nigeria, it's just going to be very, very interesting. All right, guys, Group E, Brazil, Switzerland, Costa Rica, and Serbia. Again, in the talk of tough groups, Group E is also a very tough group if you're any of those. Brazil coming in with a great qualifying, and many people saying that it's one of the best Brazils we've seen in a very long time. Costa Rica, as far as the way that they've been playing, I think it's not the strongest that's come in like 4 years ago, but I think people are going to remember that Costa Rica shocked the world 4 years ago. So Serbia isn't going to go. Costa Rica is going to be easy. Switzerland's going to be easy at all. Brazil. And so I'm also not as hard as Group D, but I'm saying Group E is kind of tough for every one of those except for Brazil. But a Serbia, a Costa Rica, Switzerland, if Costa Rica can play that the way that they played 4 years ago and can come out burning, it can give Serbia and Switzerland some problems. So interesting group there, guys. What do you think?
I think This one is. I'm intrigued to see how Costa Rica fares here. No, I
Yeah.
think Costa Rica left a good impression in the last World Cup, and I think a lot of expectation will be on how they do in this group. But Switzerland and Serbia, are not the typical strong European sides. I mean, I think they got some weaknesses there. But for example, Switzerland in the 2010 World Cup, they beat Spain in the first game, and everyone thought that Spain was in trouble because they lost to Switzerland. So it's a team that can compete. It has a good bunch of players there that are scattered around some of the best leagues in Europe. So but like I said with Spain, I feel the same way about Brazil. Brazil is going to come into this tournament like the Brazil we know. The Brazil that makes you fall in love with the game when you watch when you watch it on TV. So it's back to that joga bonito. It's gonna be, it is there. It is definitely Brazil. Is gonna be one of the favorites to win the whole thing.
Yeah, I think this one for me, it's. I think it's an interesting group. I think this is one that I'm gonna be really excited to see because although I think Brazil is gonna power through the rest of these teams, I do think it's somewhat up in the air between Switzerland, Costa Rica, and Serbia. You would say that Switzerland probably has an upper hand over the rest just because when you look at their qualifying run and how they were almost near perfect until their last game in qualifying when I believe they lost to Portugal, that they were doing extremely well. So, I mean, you can't discount that. But at the same time, let's see what Costa Rica and Serbia are capable of. Serbia is probably one of those teams, if not probably like the top team from Pot 4. So they can't be taken lightly. Costa Rica, we saw what they did at the last World Cup, but at the same time, it is an aging roster. But I do think it's up in the air between Switzerland, Costa Rica, and Serbia. But but other than that, I do see Brazil just powering through those teams.
Let's go Costa Rica. Win your group again. Let's all vote for the Ticos to win it again.
No,
Really
it'd be good for CONCACAF. No, if Costa Rica, I think if Costa Rica walks out of this group, I think it would be a huge statement for the country and for the confederation.
Yeah.
Because this is the second time that it would be the case that we kind of put a Costa Rica as the underdog, like Costa Rica to make it out of this group. But if they
Costa Rica,
make it.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
But if they do make it, it'll be a remarkable story because technically, I think, for example, they got similar complications like El Tri, no? Brian Reese doesn't play, Campbell doesn't play that much in Europe, but ultimately those are their talented players and they're going to be in the starting 11 for Costa Rica. And Mexico has those type of problems as well. Layun is not playing, Raul Jimenez is not playing, Reyes is not playing, Moreno is not playing. So it's those complications that CONCACAF teams seem to share.
And being Costa Rica as let's say, this is a pretty good group for them too. You don't have too crazy. It could have been a lot worse. You could have had Spain, Brazil. You could have had, somebody from Pot 2 like, Colombia, Brazil. But got Switzerland, which it's up there with the teams in Pot 2 that were good. Serbia, which is a tough team, but I think beating Costa Rica, not the greatest, but not the worst. As our friends in CONCACAF.
I'll say really quickly about Group E too. If you're a Mexico fan, and if you're just a rational Mexico fan who recognizes that we probably aren't going to get past Germany, we're probably going to finish in second. You're hoping for Switzerland, Costa Rica, or Serbia to make it difficult. Yeah, you're hoping for them to make things difficult for Brazil so they can be in first place. Like that's just what you got to hope for.
And Brazil has had problems in the group stages.
Yeah, they have. They have.
Right now, looking at Korea, one time they played Mexico in the World Cup. It happened 1998. Like you said, we saw, and it was memorable because of the Cuauhtemilla, no? So hopefully hopefully someone creates something, a trick that's gonna go all over the world. Maybe Chucky might do the trick or Tecatito, and we can have a new Minya. Yeah.
That'd be hilarious. All right, Group F. If you're joining us,
Tecatiña or something like that.
If you're joining us, Group F, Mexico. If you didn't get a chance to see the draw, Mexico's in Group F with the world champions Alemania, with the guys that slaughter us, which is a team that we have never been able to beat. in official competition, but I don't think I remember a time when Mexico ever beat Germany in anything. I'm sure in something.
I mean, in the Olympics they were really close,
Yeah.
no. But then again, the Olympic team was probably not the best U23 side that Germany had available, and they still reached the finals. I mean, think about it, how good that team is.
We could beat them in
Is,
baseball.
Yeah,
beat-
baseball, I think
I
for
beat
sure.
the
no?
German, I beat the German national
Boxing.
team once on FIFA. Does that count? I don't know if that counts, but I beat them with FIFA.
And when I said anything, I really don't know that set. So, Mexico and Germany. So it's Germany, Mexico, Sweden, and Korea. We've already kind of talked a little bit about obviously who would be. You know, we're definitely not going to win the group. If that the possibility of getting a tie would be great. A loss there. The good thing is that we would be facing Korea, which after Sweden could hopefully maybe only have 1 point. Hopefully not 3 points. It's so funny because that second match is going to be really key. Because we want Sweden to not get any points, so we want Korea to get if we get 3 points. But now we face Korea, so it gets so interesting on that second. You always say, ever since I can remember, my dad saying you always want to start out winning your group. 3 points is the possibility. So, but looking up ahead now on how Group E and Group F are going to face each other. We could see a Mexico-Costa Rica in this round of 16. Who knows? It's a possibility that that they could play.
It's a possibility that will make you very rich in Las Vegas if that's the case with
in that sense. But was anybody able to get the distances?
No, I think
No.
Tom has it.
Tom's got it. But looking at the distances, we're playing in Moscow, so that was one of the things that the Mexican national team wanted to
open
get
in Moscow. I think opening.
Yeah, we
Moscow,
open in Moscow. Yeah,
that's important to note.
And
of course, the opponent is Germany, but you're opening in Moscow.
What are the cities again, Cesar? Do you remember?
Yeah, so we got Moscow, we got Rostov, and then after that, it's the Yekaterinburg.
Yekaterinburg. So we're looking at right there, starting in Moscow. This is actually very favorable as far as traveling because Moscow is between Rostov and Yekaterinburg. It's a little north. So think about a triangle. You have Moscow at the peak, at the top of the triangle. Then to the left, if you're not looking at a map, is Rostov. And it's almost the exact same distance from Moscow to Rostov to Yekaterinburg and Yekaterinburg to Moscow. But what I remember Tom saying is that every time you're going to make a escala or a layover is you would go to Moscow. So if you're going to go from Sochi to Kazan, you go to Moscow. If it's Sochi to St. Petersburg, you go to Moscow. So looking at all of the cities is very favorable. We start in Moscow, we go to play in Rostov and come back to Moscow for a few days and then go to Yekaterinburg and then come back to Moscow. Have what the round of 16 city would be if it's E1 versus F2.
E1 versus F2. This is, feels like I'm playing Battleship. Let's see, winner of Group E, runner-up of Group F. That's Samara at the Cosmos Arena.
Samara. Go ahead.
And then F2, actually, wait. That was let's see. That's a little confusing. Sorry. Yeah. So that's the winner of Group E and the runner-up of Group F, and then the winner of Group F and the runner-up of Group E. They play in St. Petersburg.
So looking at the map, Samara is in that same triangle, a little bit south. So Moscow would still be, if we're looking at that. So it'd be Moscow, Rostov, Moscow, Yekaterinburg, Moscow. And if we make, obviously, to the second group, it'd be Moscow, Samara, or Moscow, St. Petersburg. And Moscow and St. Petersburg, again, Moscow's all in the center. So that's actually very favorable for Mexico. And it's going to come into a situation because when we kind of analyze what Germany's going to go through, what Sweden, what Korea, because I remember those late FGH's groups had some horrendous mileage that they had to travel. I haven't looked at Sweden yet, but as far as Group E, for example, when we face against Brazil or Costa Rica or Serbia or Switzerland, have they already been traveled? for long distances, and if they have to travel to St. Petersburg or Samara. So I'm liking the fact on the mileage side, and also Osorio's very, very, he's always been about resting players. You're playing 3 games in 2 weeks, and I think they're very happy. I think Mexico's already on the phone trying to get a really good setup in Moscow. And that's actually one thing that Mexico has done really well, that we applaud, is the hospitality for the team, the flights, and they're very well connected with the traveling and making that, I think, the private jets last year, 4 years ago, with how many rest days they actually had and how many travel days. Mexico does a really good job. But Group F, if you haven't heard, Alemania, Mexico, Suecia, Republic of Korea. Naive saying he wants to see another Quatemina comeback from somebody, which would be amazing. All right. Any last thoughts about Group F, guys?
Yeah. Is Amy still in chat? Amy, what are your thoughts on Group F?
Sorry, guys. I'm listening. Just doing a lot of background stuff. I think it's fair. I don't think it. I mean, obviously, on the polls, like on Patreon and stuff, everybody was saying. And even I was bored yesterday, or not bored, but I was like, I was thinking about it all day yesterday. So I went on the little simulators and I did like 10 possible scenarios. Like I just did like a bunch of it 10 times, and I only got Germany once out of the 10 times. So I was like, I know that this is like anything's possible, but okay. So I think it's really interesting, and it was the one that had the most. I think like 16 people were like, this is a team that I want to avoid. Yeah. So obviously, in true Mexico luck fashion, we ended up getting them. So it's our biggest worry.
Dang it.
Korea's not that bad, but it's not. It's doable. Like it all seems very doable. It's going to be a challenge, but like like Naive said earlier, like you don't want it to be too easy. You want it to be entertaining. So I think it'll definitely be entertaining.
It's funny because when I didn't look at the pots and I didn't look at the whatever, I was like, we're going to have Germany. I'm 100% sure. And then the pots came out. I'm like, okay, between Argentina, we're doing the math, right? The reason I said that in Argentina and Brazil is because it really was a 50% chance we'd be in their group, because we can't be, they can't be in the group together, and then the other European team. So I was, it's flip of a coin that we'd be in their group. So, all right, Group G, Belgium, Panama, Tunisia, and England. Obviously, looking at England, being a very, very tough team. I think we're going to see a very different side of England in the World Cup. Belgium, always a very strong team, especially in the last 10 years. But then you have two very Tunisia has been in the World Cup before, I think.
Yeah, Tunisia has been,
Yeah, Panama's first time at the World Cup with El Bolillo Gomez. Very tough group, I think, for Panama to go through. If we're looking at CONCACAF, could maybe get a good result against Tunisia, but any Belgium hopes or England, win hopes is kind of out there. But kind of one of the easy groups for Belgium and England. At the same time, they do have to face each other, so you have two big groups, just like the Portugal-Spain.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be tough, right? Anybody that drops. But at the same time,
what is intriguing about this, and that's really interesting, is Belgium's coach Roberto Martinez was basically formed in the Premier League. We coach in Everton, Wigan, Swansea, and the base of Belgium. The star power of Belgium plays in England. So I mean, the De Bruyne, the Hazards, the Lukakus, the Fellaini's, the Alderweireld, Vertonghen. All of those that I'm mentioning, they play in England. So it's a really connected rivalry there between the two, and I think should be a great match of the tournament. But it's interesting with Panama, Costa Rica, and Mexico. All the CONCACAF teams in their groups have at least 2 European sides. No, so it will be kind of a test to compare where of those 3 teams stands exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that this is another one of those groups where the top 2. Well, I should say the top 2. Because top 2 is technically Belgium and Panama, I think. But I do think that Belgium and England, they should have no problems going through. I mean, this is Panama's first World Cup. And we all know what Panama like. We all know how Panama play. We all know what they're capable of. But I just don't think there's any way they can get past Belgium or England. And I know some English fans will feel a little anxious, regardless of who they're playing, because I know sometimes England doesn't do the best at the World Cup. But I think this is quite a nice draw for them. I think that Tunisia is one of the weaker teams in the World Cup, and Panama, yeah, like we said, it's just. They're not exactly a powerhouse in the CONCACAF region. They barely sneaked into the World Cup. So yeah, this looks easily like a Belgium and England a group where the two of them will go through.
No, that's what I was about to say. So I said, like, aside from Mexico, England is because even though you guys don't watch the EPL, it's like one of my favorites, or just like one of the teams that I really enjoy watching.
I don't watch the
but
EPL.
England plays.
You guys watch it. I'm sure they do.
I know you do. But they've been playing so slow. Their style of play has been like all over the place. You don't know. You could say Belgium and England as the definite favorites, but you also don't know. Imagine Panama comes out with like a really strong performance, and then England's just not feeling it. So I don't know. I would say Belgium and England too, but then with England sometimes it's just a headache to watch them.
Yeah, so we'll see what I still think it's Belgium and England. That'll be. I think more. I feel pretty confident with those two going through.
Guys, I got to look at what was our date? That was the worst date for Mexico. Has lost like 4 straight games on that date. Was it June 18th? I think we're going to be playing June 17th. The very first. So yes, we have something in our corner. All right. Group H. Excuse me. Poland, Senegal, Colombia, and Japan. And looking just straight out, obviously Colombia sticks out as being the winner. And then you have a Poland or even Japan. Japan's always done really well for, surprisingly well. Not surprisingly well, but at least they're a very tough group to beat in international competitions. We faced them in 2013 in the Confederations Cup. We did win, but at the same time, I remember the Japan in 2006. Those Asian teams that normally one makes it somewhere, it squeezes by. But also Senegal. And I know Naib, there was something for you to watch in the players that Senegal has. And obviously Poland. Your main boy Lewandowski. How are you guys seeing Group H? It's one of the easier, if we can say easier.
No, fíjate, Cesar, Amy, I see this group kind of not at the same level as the group that in Mexico have, but it's really close. I mean, I think the 4 sides have something in their teams that is interesting. Senegal is coming back to a World Cup since 2002. And let's not forget Senegal, I think they reached the quarterfinals, if I'm not mistaken, of that World Cup. They beat France in the inauguration game in 2002. And it's a bright generation there in Senegal with Mane, but also a good center back that plays for Napoli, I think is also there in Senegal. Napoli right now plays some of the best football in Europe. So it's a good mixture of teams. Japan, Keisuke Honda, it plays in Mexico. Yeah. And for Colombia, Oscar Murillo. So Murillo knows how to defend Honda. They got that connection in club level at Pachuca. So I think it's fascinating. In Poland, I mean, I was a bit disappointed because when Mexico played Poland really missed most of their bulk of the players. But for them, I think it's their first World Cup since 2006, Poland. I think this group might not have the flair that Mexico's and Argentina's group have, but it's really equal because the 4 teams have great talents in the teams, and it'll go down to the wire, this one.
Yeah, I think that, Japan, I know they're in pot 4, but they do have, the likes of Keisuke Honda, they do have a lot of, it seems like they have a lot of veteran names. And I know, I was talking to someone recently who covers the Japanese national team, and they're not, the one thing they wanted to avoid was a powerhouse. I think you could say that for any team, but I think they just weren't feeling exactly confident about the current state of the Japanese national team. It's not at its best right now. So I think considering that they got Poland is ideal. At the same time, though, I think that when I look at this group, I do think that Poland and Colombia are the favorites here. My guess is that Poland's going to sneak in at first place. I think they did quite well in qualifying, and obviously they were able to get into one of those top FIFA spots, one of the top FIFA ranking spots, because of the way they worked the system and basically didn't schedule a lot of friendlies. But hey, it worked for them. They're the top of Group H. Senegal, there's some interesting names within the roster. I think this isn't a team that should be taken lightly either. I mean, you look at that squad and you see players that from the EPL, you see players that play in France, you see players that are also a couple I think in La Liga, and I think there's some individual talents here that could potentially carry them into the next round. But yeah, and I think this could be one in which it's going to be a tough test for Senegal and Japan, and I think that Colombia and Poland are going to go through.
No, Colombia, no, they're coming off this. I remember in 2014 there was a lot of talk about Colombia and the dancing and all that stuff, and this is going to be an important tournament for them because it is kind of a work in progress that started in 2014. I think a lot will depend on how Falcao arrives to this World Cup. James, for example, now that he's in Bayern Munich. And it might have a strong Mexican presence, that national team as well, with, like I said, Murillo, Stefan Medina, even Avilés Hurtado might get into the mix at the end of it all, especially considering how good he's been in Liga MX. And it's really it's going to be fascinating to see. I mean, it's a group where Colombia has to get out. If Colombia doesn't make it out of this group, it could be called a fracaso for sure.
I think so. Yeah, that would most definitely be a fracaso. They need. I mean, I know I said that there's potential for Senegal and Japan to make things interesting, but it would be just looking on paper, it would be a fracaso if they don't make it to the next round.
As far as looking as the brackets go, right? Group A versus runner-up Group B is going to face the winner of Group C, runner-up of Group D. So you're starting to see the top would be in their own group, going all the way to the final. And then the bottom, E, F, G, and H will be in their own, obviously, kind of bracket, if we're looking at bracketology in that sense. So I actually kind of like our side of things.
But we might face Brazil. You might face Brazil.
No. I'm saying after that. Let's say we're going to, yeah, I'm talking after the round of 16, where if you look at the top A, B, C, and D, there is Uruguay, Portugal, Spain, France, Denmark, Argentina, right? You have Argentina, right, on that side. And on our end, in order, I mean, Brazil, Germany.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Belgium and Colombia, which are the ones. But Belgium and Colombia have to face off each other. We won't see
England también. Put England there, we saw.
And we won't see. I mean, it'll be like an England, a Belgium, Colombia, Poland, if we were able to get the round of 16.
No, right now, one of the characteristics we share a lot with the English fans is this desire not to take that next step on the world stage. I mean, England has been sort of stagnated for many years. And I think England, the point that you're bringing up right now is really interesting because English fans, they would see this right now and they'd be like, whoa, we actually have a good opportunity this time around. Because like you said, on the other side is Spain, even Uruguay can be there in the mix, Portugal, France. All of these are strong candidates. And on the side where Mexico's at, if you get over the hump of Germany, if you get over Brazil, I don't know what can happen, but something really nice could happen. This is looking in a really optimistic way, by the way.
Guys, let me just tell you. In order for us to win the World Cup, we have to beat Germany, possibly twice. That's just how it goes. That's it. If we're going to go to the final, we have to beat Germany in this World Cup.
And by the way, Brazil, I think Mexico has never played Brazil in a round of 16, no? Mexico and Brazil is this rivalry or where
we played them really well.
It looks, it's I don't know how to say if it's David and Goliath, but many times when Mexico and Brazil plays, Brazil's always going to be the favorite. However, in the last years in different levels, Brazil. And I'm pretty sure Brazilians are going to see Mexico in round of 16 and are going to be like, oh, wait a second.
Well, if we would let's look at the powerhouses that have won a World Cup in a round of 16 match. I would rather face Brazil than I would face Argentina, than France, than Spain, than Germany, than even Uruguay. I mean, I guess Uruguay would be in there, but if we're gonna talk about the powerhouses that we would face in a round of 16, I'd take Brazil over any of them.
Yeah, and that's a good point.
Yes,
a lot of those guys that faced them in the 2014 World Cup are still around. More than likely, Ochoa is going to be in that again too. More than likely, so I think that there's something to, once again, talking about, the mental aspect of the game, something that we talked about earlier today. I think that the players would probably feel more confident, perhaps feel a little bit more, perhaps more motivated. I know
just making out of the group, just making out of this group, making it out of this group would put Mexico in a position of a lot of confidence because it's an easy group. So out of this, we have a good confidence level heading into the round of 16.
Yeah, and then, I mean, and Winston does make a good point. Once we do, if we get past Brazil, once we do potentially do that, you do look at groups G and H. And once again, if there's something else that Mexico fans should keep their fingers crossed for, keep your fingers crossed that Tunisia or Panama or Senegal or Japan just mixes things up in groups G or H, that they perhaps sneak into that second spot. Maybe they sneak into the first spot, then go into the round of 16. Because if you can get some weak teams in there, if Panama can sneak in as second of Group G, if you can have a Japan sneaking in Group H, and they can potentially make it to the next round, that would be ideal for Mexico. That would be very, very ideal for them in the next round. But that's looking a little ahead, though. I mean, we still got to focus on them making it past the group stage, but who cares? Mexico's going to win it all. It's going to be great.
Let's
party at my house.
Let's see what Juan Carlos Osorio has to say. He's talking about France, Argentina. He's talking about France and Argentina being one of the best, of Germany. Belgium scares him. Those are the teams that he's looking at. He's thinking. Very optimistic. Very optimistic to see in the round of 16, looking at maybe an England cross after the round of 16. They're going to face the champions, and that's extraordinary. He's really liking the fact that he's going to face Germany, and that way we can go toe-to-toe against the world best and really see if there's something that we can make a difference in this World Cup. To play a 2-2 against them, oh, this is already scaring me. During that day, we didn't have all of our players like Carlos Vela and Tecatito, and it's really good for the team. And yeah, all right. Lastly, I kind of want to mention this, and let me turn this TV mic so there's no background. But really quick before we leave, I know people are kind of looking at Brazil being really good, but I have this weird conspiracy that Brazil had it really easy during their qualifying. I know you guys are going to kill me. I know it's the hardest qualifying. Chile couldn't get in there. But I'm seeing the South American groups, and I know I'm going to get killed for it. I don't think they're as tough as they used to be. And Uruguay, and that's why I believe Peru sneaked in there. And because Brazil, when was the last time they just rolled through, their qualifying? Obviously, Argentina is Argentina with Messi. But as far as Colombia, I don't see them being the Colombia in 2010. I don't see, Uruguay being the Uruguay that's normally there with the great players. Argentina has had some problems, and I think that's why Brazil did really good, and with players that aren't like superstars, obviously Neymar and whatever, but Mexico could have a chance to make it if we do face. So interesting to see how that feels, guys. So last thoughts of the groups and how you feel.
I mean, I guess it's just ending on Mexico. I think that at first glance it is kind of scary, isn't it? Because the team that stands out the most is Germany. And it was interesting. I posted a tweet, online, seeing what people's reactions were to Mexico's group, and a lot of people are justifiably worried. A lot of people are saying it's a group of death. I don't think it's a group of death. a lot of people are thinking that it might be very, very difficult for Mexico. And of course it's going to be difficult. It's the World Cup. It's not supposed to be easy. You're going to get challenges like this. This is the test. This isn't a Gold Cup. This isn't a Copa America. This isn't a friendly. This is the Confederations Cup. It's the World Cup. So, of course, you're going to have to face situations like this. But that said, you see Germany, you're afraid. But then when you see that Sweden and South Korea are in the group as well, on paper, Mexico should get wins against those teams. Against South Korea, I don't think Mexico has any excuses. And I think that, once again, like I mentioned earlier, it's that game against Sweden, which is just like the last World Cup. It's gonna be like the same exact scenario with the game against Croatia. That's right, the game against Croatia. It's all gonna come. More than likely, it's gonna go down against. That second spot is gonna be decided in that game against Sweden. I know. It's romantic to think of the idea that perhaps Mexico could get a win against Germany. Perhaps they can get a draw with them, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that they're not gonna beat Germany. I just think that's a little real. That's just me being realistic, and I think that it's all gonna go. It's all gonna be determined in that game against Sweden, and I think Mexico should be able to get that win and sneak in as a second place.
Look, what I also really like. I'm sorry to interrupt really quick. What I also really like is that, let's say Mexico loses against Germany. I like the fact that Germany can play Sweden and really do a number on them, and also do a number on Korea. Right, which they shouldn't have a problem with, which will help us, Mexico. If we can get, even if we can get 1 point against Sweden and 3 points against Korea, you can go in with 4 points. I know it's kind of looking at it, but it's not the group of death. Naive, to close us off, and then we'll go to Amy. Overall thoughts.
No, I mean, just looking a little bit. For example, here we got some stats and whatnot about the heights. And the tallest record is Serbia, but Sweden. So it tells you a little bit of how that test is going to be for Mexico. Let's keep in mind with Osorio, since he came in, it's on the certain height that the right back has to have and the defensive midfielder. So, I mean, I think in that set, I think Mexico has prepared itself adequately for these type of matches against a team like Sweden, for example. It's going to be really interesting to see how this process. I don't know if it's going to end. I mean, I think there's still no sign of a renovation from Osorio's part. Osorio knows as a head coach that if Mexico succeeds in this World Cup, he's going to have a lot of bidders over there in Europe. So, of course, in his looking at it from his side of things, getting out of this group will be really fantastic for his resume. And of course, for Mexico, it's always there, it's always reaching the round of 16 and you don't know what's going to happen next. And it's always been matches where Mexico was so close, the eternal Ya Merito. And now let's hope that something different can happen. But definitely making out of this group will be difficult, I think. But Mexico has been in this situation before, in Belgium and the Netherlands. 2002 with Italy and Croatia in the group. Ecuador was also in the group, and they made it out. So this is a really similar group to those World Cups in 1998 and 2002, and it will put this generation into the test, because when Cuauhtemoc talks, when Luis Hernandez talks, when Ricardo Peláez talks, when Jorge Campos talks, they say, "Oh man, our generation was better than this generation that is playing right now." Well, the big test for this generation is coming up in the next months. And if they're able to get out of this group and then make that quinto partido, well, there's no other generation that has done that in that, stage, in that moment. So a lot of preparation in the upcoming months, and let's see.
Well, Mexico did it in '86, got out of the round of 16.
Mexico, I think making it out of to the quarterfinals and out of the country, it's really significant for progress,
Of course. We're not facing Germany in the round of 16. Very positive. We might not even face them until the semifinals, if that's something that we go through. That, if we play our best, we could definitely do well. But again, Sweden and Republic of Korea. Amy, who has been working in the background, working some stuff for FootMex Nation, some graphics that are going to come out. Amy, your last thoughts about the whole draw. Not the greatest, not the worst. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Like I said earlier, I think it's fair. I think coming off of what Naib said about different generations and how everybody says that they're the best. At least for me, this is going to be the first time where I actually see like the full potential of everybody that I've seen growing up. Like this is their platform to be able to prove what they can do, and it's a group where obviously we didn't want Germany, but it's a group where you're going to have a really big challenge like Germany, but you also have, not too easy, not too hard of chances between Korea and Sweden. So,
like for me, is retired, right?
Yeah, he could come back.
Isn't there?
But he's going to come back.
He could come back if he wants to. But the thing is, sorry, go ahead. I'll just say he could come back, but it seems like, at least from what you see from like reports from abroad and whatnot, it seems like the team kind of had this like weight lifted off their shoulders once Zlatan left, and they're all kind of have been working well as a unit. So if he was to come back, that might work in Mexico's favor, because then he might disrupt what has been working quite well for Sweden recently.
Or he comes back and is Zlatan one of the best forwards in the history of the game. It's bad for Mexico with the Sweden thing. Sorry, Amy, to cut you off. I'm kind of with you there. We knew from the beginning we weren't being the group of death. We got a harder group, than we thought. We didn't get an easy group. We didn't get a cakewalk like I wanted. Group A2 versus, But I'm glad about the whole mileage and the. It's doable, guys. It's definitely doable. I want to thank, obviously, Amy and also Cesar and Naib for sticking out through the whole thing. I want to thank Jason and Mr. Tom Marshall for jumping on a little bit. I know they're working on probably some stories. Ultimately, guys, we want to thank all of you who have stuck with us, who have joined us. We'd love to hear where you guys are at. If you're listening to us, lots of great stuff on the chat. Many of you guys are still watching, and it's just how great to see all the support. I want to take some time to really ask you guys, help us out. We do have a Patreon page. If you don't know what that is, it's just a great way for you to get some extra content. Starting now for almost a month, Naib, Mr. Tom Marshall, and Cesar have had a Countdown to Russia podcast that we do every week. This week is a double feature for these guys, and they're gonna have their reactions. I can't wait to hear Tom Marshall's reactions.
Yeah, we're gonna record one later on today and really go in depth for Mexico's opponents. I think we're each gonna be assigned a team, and we're gonna go pretty into detail about what we anticipate for L3. Interesting to hear what Tom has to say about the mileage that L3 has to deal with, about the travel and the preparation, and just kind of anticipate. I know we're far, we're still, it's literally not even 2018 yet, but we're at this point in stage for all four teams in Group F. We're going to really look ahead and anticipate what we're going to see for Mexico.
Awesome. And there's a ton of other content. Jason Markwitz has a Bofo bet, Bofo on air, which is, he pretty much tells you, hey, these are the teams that are going to win and lose. And I think he's up like $700, Bofos. Because we don't want to get in trouble. It's not a betting site, but
you can't exchange it at the bank. It's
a
little weird. But I'll talk to Chase later about that.
Pretty much, if you're a betting man and you're in a country that you can bet on, or you're looking at, definitely take Jason's, because he's making quite some money. And then there's other articles. There's other live chats that we did. We did a live chat of the Tigres. Why did I lose it? I know the America Cruz Azul match. So we'll hopefully do one this weekend. So there's a ton of stuff. We ask for your support. And we really want to take this to the next level next year in the World Cup. How great would it be with all of us there, just giving you live coverages for the Mexican Soccer Show? I think it'd be amazing. All right, guys. I know you've been with us for more than an hour. I want to thank you all. And thank you all who stuck. Renato, Javier Hernandez, Soccer Nerds. All of you guys are saying, I guess Mexico's maybe 50-1 on the odds already. Somebody posted the odds.
You're telling me there's a chance.
So you're telling me that's it. That's how we should end it. We should end the podcast, guys. They're telling me there's a chance. We're not going to face Germany until the semifinals. After our group stage. All right, amigos. Muchísimas gracias. We'll continue to have the Mexican Soccer Show on Monday. Some more reactions, and we want to hear from you. What do you think? Tweet us, or also on our Facebook, and we'll kind of interact with you guys there. Again, hasta la próxima. Let the World Cup come, guys. Here we go. Here we go. All right. I believe I can't turn it. Oh, yes, I can. All right, guys. Hasta la próxima.